I lurk and nap. That's all good, man. Feel free to lurk and lap. Nap. Lap? Huh? Yeah, we're going over Draw Steel today. So, I guess I'll do the beginning bits of explaining what Draw Steel is. And then we can get into the nitty gritty of doing the proper, looking at the PDF. The PDF is all over the place. So, the VOD is mostly for yapping purposes. Hi, Tabs! Hello, friend! We're going over, Draw Steel for Roll Your Die today. It's a, interesting, like, epic kind of feeling, fantasy TTRPG. It does really good at simulating epic stories and especially feeling powerful from what I understand of the rules baseline. I have not looked at them fully. This will be a damp reading. we'll be looking through with a little bit of familiarity. Um, I've been streaming off and on since 2018, but properly since, I'd like to say, as this persona, October. So I've been streaming almost every day since October. For those in the know, I used to take 3 days off for a week for mental days. I might be going back to that. But yeah. I've been streaming for a hot minute. But yeah, today on Roll Your Die, we're doing Draw Steel. The PDF is all over the place, so that's why we are going to be swapping to example view only when there are, like, tables, I would say. Simply because, holy heck. Yeah, so, I started, back in high school, I started doing, speed paints. For stuff. And then my school had a, D&D podcast that we would do. It does not exist anymore, mostly because, we lost somebody close to us in that group, and our teacher didn't feel comfortable with leaving the VODs up, so we didn't keep them up. But, we had a D&D podcast for most of that school year, and then I started doing streaming proper after I graduated. And that's how I got into the VTuber sphere, because I really liked, so at the time a lot of people did story times and used, their avatars. At the time I was really into, oh my gosh, who was it? What was their name? I do know now that they're a little problematic. It was like Chaos something. And they were like Wiccan. And their art style was really cool to me. In Lavender Town. Those were like the two that I really liked at the time. It inspired me to get into streaming. And then I quickly found Iron Mouse, and Iron Mouse is Kamiyoshi. Iron Mouse and, Cabal. Cabal's kind of a newer one, but I absolutely love the cult leader. Cabal is great. Especially since his name is themed off of Ball from D&D, because he's a nerd. But yeah. I also just wanted to make people happy. Oh, okay. Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, I really liked Iron Mouse. Like, Iron Mouse has been one of my favorites, personally, for a long time. Especially, like, even before I knew that she was disabled and had all of her health problems. It was a big, inspiration. Hello, Mercuro! Welcome, welcome, friend. But yeah, so, Draw Steel. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty. Let me get zoomed in here. Like I said, the PDF is all over the place, so we'll be touch and go. Let me open up my YouTube chat real quick. And feel free to ask questions if you don't understand anything. We are going to be going through this slowly, because I have never looked through Draw Steel before. Well, I looked through it a little bit last night, but that's how I know that the PDF is a little wonky. It's a lot of zooming in and zooming out, which is a weird thing to have to do. Hello, Jinwoo. Welcome, welcome, hun. I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in training. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam, and a few days a week over on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. This is our TTRPG segment that we do every other Saturday, called Roll Your Die. We go through different TTRPGs until they're done, and get a general basis of them. We go over pretty much the general gist of the PDF, or the TTRPG, before we go into too much. So we'll go over the credits, because this is technically a backer-lit thing. Hi, Sanic! Hello, friend! Welcome back! We're gonna go over the designers and everything. Not about that today. Not about that today. Sorry about that. So, credits. Let me swap over to our example area for you guys. Over on YouTube. There we go. Like I said, we're going to only be on this screen for a little bit, so we can go through the credits. So, the design director is Matthew Collinville, James Interasco. I'm just going to go over general. So, that's the credits. This was a, I think Kickstarter? It was either backer-lit or Kickstarter. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah. It's called Draw Steel. We will see how this goes. Lots of playtesters. I'm very excited for everything. They also have the art descriptions, Discord and everything. If you guys want to check out and interested in their community, go for it. I haven't checked out their community, so that'll just be a take as you go. But yeah. So, into here, we're gonna go back to chat and stream. So, getting into the nitty-gritty of this. So I'll read off the letter that he has for this. I really liked working with MC. Blah, blah, if I could speech. I really liked working with MCDM, but I want to work on an original role-playing game someday, I said. I just have been offered a writing job and developing books for one of the RPG industry's best third-party publishers. I was thrilled and honored, but my heart had always been set on creating games from scratch and not just expanding someone else's game. Me too, Matt said. I've got lots of things I want to make. That sealed the deal for me, and that's why I took the job as MCDM's lead game designer. The idea of Draw Steel wouldn't come for another couple years or so, when Matt and I sat down at an in-person meeting and talked about what rules would make a fantasy game explicitly heroic. We started with the first principles, asking the question, what makes a hero? Sure, power is important, but a lot of people have power and do very little with it to help others. Spider-Man's Uncle Ben had something to say about that. Lots of people stand up for others, but some do so only when they have the time and inclination. Heroes stand up even when it's hard, because they know no one else will. They don't stop to rest and get their spell slots back before facing a villain, because no one knows how much destruction that villain could cause during nap time. When most folks would throw in the towel, a hero stands up, stares down evil, and says, "Is that all you got?" Heroes keep going. With that idea established, Matt and I began to discuss a gameplay loop that eventually became heroic resources, victories, recoveries, and respites. Rules that would encourage players to push their characters to the limits, so they could really kick some ass and save the day. We've been testing and refining that gameplay ever since, always with the idea of a heroic narrative as our North Star. By our definition, a lot of folks who worked with this book are heroes. Our designers, artists, editors, playtesters just kept going until the job was done. Thank you so much for putting your all into this game, and it's with my sincere hope that you tell the heroic stories of your dreams with this game. And I can think of no greater pastime, no art more enjoyable, no escape more fantastic than saving the world with your friends, other than perhaps being the friend who gets to create the world that needs saving. Thank you for checking out Draw Steel. Keep going, hero. And that's from the designer. Hello, cute cat. And, Kararu, welcome. I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in training. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam, and a few days a week over on YouTube. Welcome everybody that has joined, during me reading the letter from the developer. Hello, Belzana, welcome, hun. And now we get to start. So, as you guys know, probably can tell already, Draw Steel is not based around taking rests. Draw Steel, you push yourself. The more your hero goes without rest, the stronger they will be. The more boons you'll get, the stronger you will be. It's a very interesting take on pushing forward. And I'm interested in this from what I know of it. So we're going over heroes specifically, which heroes is kind of like your player's guide. And then we'll go on to monsters, which will be more of the D&D side of things, Dungeon Master side of things. So we've got our table of contents, and I will go ahead and swap over to here. Of course, as you all know, usually by now with Roll Your Die, I do have examples. Let me move my window capture real quick over just a tad. So we got the table of contents. We have our introduction, the basics, making a hero, your ancestries, your background, the different classes, kits, perks, complications, tests, combat, negotiation, downtime projects, rewards, gods and religion, and then the director area. That should be for the DM. But yeah, I think our next stop is the basics. We'll see what kind of system this is. And for all that we'll probably be wondering, we can check out the art real quick, as usual. Which is an awesome looking Asamar type character. Yeah! It looked amazing. Your fan art looked great. I am absolutely chuffed whenever somebody makes fan art. Heck yeah, 90s Sailor Moon. The vibes were amazing. Oh, whoops. Almost ripped off my my overlay. Whoopsies. It's not a me stream without a little bit of scuff. Alright, back over to here. We're going to have a lot of reading. Yippee! There we go. So, the introduction. Yippee! Here we go. Because I need to get better at doing this. Yes! The Hans. So, what is this game? This game is about fighting monsters, about larger-than-life extraordinary heroes plunging into battle against terrifying monstrous enemies. This covers a lot. So let's get specific and talk about what this game is and what it is not. This game will absolutely feature dungeons, ancient underground complexes filled with ravenous undead or creeping oozes, but it isn't a dungeon crawler. It's not about clearing rooms. It's not about a survival horror game where you must track light and food and the weight of every object you carry. You can fight monsters in a dungeon, but the game isn't about dungeons. A lot of games focus on that gameplay and do it really well, like Shadow Dark. It's not a wilderness exploration game, aka hex crawl. It's not about surviving extreme weather, getting lost, or trying to navigate your way back to safety. You can fight monsters in the wilderness, even a whole campaign in the wilderness, but this game is not about the wilderness. We love games that focus on that fantasy, like Forbidden Lands. You can run adventures with horror themes, but this is not a horror role-playing game like Call of Cthulhu. Your sessions can and will feature comedy, but this isn't a comedy RPG like Paranoia. Draw Steel is definitely a game about creating amazing stories in which the heroes fight monsters and villains using strategy and tactics. Draw Steel has a lot of other tools, but fighting monsters is sort of a non-negotiable. If you're looking for a game featuring extraordinary heroes overcoming dramatic villains without the focus of tactical combat, maybe check out Daggerheart. Just right next door, alphabet-wise. We genuinely love those games, but we love them because they focus on specific genres of gameplay and deliver them very well. Our game is a heroic fantasy. That's its genre. Extraordinary people fighting dragons and necromancers, but heroic fantasy is a little too broad for our purposes, so we added 2 other keywords to explain how our game might be different from other games in this genre: tactical and cinematic. These terms are just guidelines, a vibe, but we find them useful when trying to choose between different features. Both of these ideas are cool, but which is the most cinematic, the most heroic? So let's talk about what we mean when we use these terms. Tactical. Strategy is, what are we trying to do? Break a siege, free a prisoner, rescue a captive, steal a tome of ancient lore. Strategy is about long-term goals. Tactics is about how can we do that. We're going to surround them, sneak around them, pick them off one by one, kill their leader first, kill their priest first. No resurrections. Hello, Popcorn! Welcome, welcome, hun! I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in training. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam and a few days a week over on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Miss Info! Hi, friend! In a tactical game, positioning matters. So our game is played on a grid. Effects and distances are measured in squares. This means all players are focused on the same problem, and there's no ambiguity. Hi Jay! Welcome, welcome, hun! Welcome, Mod! Regarding where the heroes and villains are in relation to one another, the Hobgoblin troopers are setting themselves up in a line to stop our tactician and Fury from getting into melee with the Hobgoblin War Mage. We are all aware of what's happening, and we can all talk about what we're going to do to stop it. That means teamwork matters. That's why the order of combat works the way it does, to encourage the players to plan. Okay, you use a concussive slam on that trooper, it'll push him back, and on my turn I can use squad forward to get us all into melee with the Death Captain. We all think on focusing teamwork also makes the game more heroic. In a tactical game, you have many choices each combat round. You are never reduced to just swinging your sword. You have options. We can do a good job. If we do a good job, you don't feel as if you outlasted your opponents because you wore their stamina down before they could reduce yours to 0. You feel like you beat those hobgoblins through strengths and sorcery, coordination and ferocity. As you play with the same group of characters, you learn that what they can all do. You discover synergies, combos, some of them intended by designers, some not. You start to learn these unique characters, and to rely on them to do their cool things. It's a great feeling when another player comes up with a cool plan that relies on your unique abilities. You learn which characters are the squishies, who need to be protected or healed. You learn which characters can push themselves right to the edge and keep fighting. Don't worry about healing Barsla. She's our Fury. She's happier with 3 stamina. Our game is not about tactics. It's not a war game. But it is tactical. Take a drink real quick. Our game is definitely about heroism. For us, this means a couple things. It means we don't assume your character is primarily motivated by greed. They might be, but we don't assume that. Instead, we assume that you're going to do the right thing. It might take some convincing, and there might be some reluctant heroes in your party, but that's part of the fun. You should absolutely be able to play a Chain of the Archeon style campaign, where the heroes are hard-bitten mercenaries in a morally ambiguous world, but that's not the baseline assumption. The fiction and the adventurers that inspire us feature great epic villains trying to remake the world in their image, and the dashing, unyielding heroes who strive against them even in the face of impossible odds. So that's one component of the heroic keyword. But another component is equally important. Is what kinds of things happen on screen, so to speak. And this is closely related to the cinematic keyword. For instance, you never see Indiana Jones having find a local sporting goods store because he needs to stock up on ammo. You never see Katniss Everdeen have to stop and take a shower because she stinks. These things do happen. No one's watching Raiders of the Lost Ark thinks that Indy's gun is magic and doesn't need bullets. But we simply don't need to see Indy doing that stuff. We don't need to waste time on it. Likewise, in our game, we don't worry about the stuff that heroes in fiction tend to need not worry about. We don't worry about how much everything you're carrying weighs. If you try to lift a bear, you might have trouble, sure. But nowhere on your character sheet are you tracking the weight of every item. Looks at 3.5. You don't need to track food, such as rations. You don't need to worry about how many torches you have. Light might factor into specific environment, because that's a fun tactical challenge. But the game doesn't expect everyone to always be worried about running out of light. Basically, we worry about those things that you see your characters doing in a movie or a comic, or a novel about their adventures. Assume all the tedious stuff happens off-screen. Speaking of things happening on-screen, and then we get into the cinematic area. We're almost done with this little bit, I promise. Closely tied to the heroic keyword, the cinematic keyword is about how we make abilities and features strongly evocative. We're learning some words today, boys. You can imagine your character doing or saying these things, all in this confusion. Is a good name for the Shadow's ability to slip out of melee and retreat to safety. The text of the ability says how it works, but the name creates an awareness that explains how it's working. When Sir Vazanor, the Dragon Knight Fury, leaps into a goblin war spider, cleaving through the goblins, riding the creature in a single turn, you experience the action in your mind. It feels like a movie. It doesn't feel simply as if you rolled well, but like an epic scene, complete with slow motion and a Carpenter Brunt soundtrack. You can imagine your tactician character leading the battle, granting your allies free strikes, extra maneuvers, coordinating the battle. That's what the name implies, and if we've done a good job, when you read through your character's abilities, you think, yes, this is what I was imagining. I can't wait to do this. Fantasy. Just, it's not dragons and stuff. It's worth mentioning. While everyone basically already knows what fantasy means in this context, we do imagine it in a little bit more of a broad than your average classical medieval fantasy. We like that stuff. Vassaloria is our medieval European setting, analog with knights on horseback, wizards in towers, but we also like high fantasy, urban intrigue. So we're developing capital, the city of the great game, the greatest city in this age or any age. Vassaloria is mostly humans and elves, and orcs and dwarves, but the capital has dozens, hundreds of different ancestries in it. Looking back at movies like Star Wars and the work artists put, like Chris Foss in the 70s stuff, seems explicitly fantastical. There's nothing specific, or even plausible about a lightsaber or John Berkeley spaceship. But damn, do they look cool. So our setting includes the timescape, our multiverse, of which the world of Oridon, containing capital and Vassaloria, is only one part. The timescape is more explicitly space fantasy. These core rules mostly cover over the classic fantasy stuff, but we think the capital and the timescape will help us deliver a game where more people can see their fantasy in our worlds. For us, fantasy includes magic, like wizards casting spells and psionics, the natural and focused ability to some creatures have to manipulate, warp reality with their minds. Telekinesis and telepathy. Jean Grey style. Hi, hun. Hello, Lily. Hello, hun. Welcome, welcome. Alright. We're gonna take a small little break because now we're getting into them explaining, if you're coming from, the next section is if you're coming from D20 fantasy, which, if you know TTRPGs, different TTRPGs are split into different areas, so to speak. One of them is D20 fantasy. Listen, bow bow! Welcome, hun! But yeah, D20 fantasy is like, an example is like D&D. That's like your biggest example of D20 fantasy. The reason why it's called that is primarily because you roll a D20 for like most of your dice. Most of your dice rolls, most of your decisions is D20. This is making me a little bit more thirsty, surprisingly. Probably because I'm yapping a lot. I'm literally reading a book to you guys. Because I want to make this a little bit more, cohesive. We're going to try to get through the basics today. Alright. So far we know that this is going to be a very cinematic and tactical game with a lot of fantasy, classic, like, more epic fantasy. Think King Arthur. Not really necessarily, the, like, what's a good, not necessarily medieval life sim. This definitely seems to be more combat based, with heroic vibes. Which I'm fine with. That is, I mean, that's kind of how cyberpunk is. So it's kind of like fantasy cyberpunk, but we'll see how the actual rolling mechanics are, too. Oh, goodness. Anyways, let's continue on. I will state for everybody here, we'll be wrapping up stream at about 7:30, so I can get ready for collab tonight. Just so you guys know, we still got a lot before then. So it'll be about hour and a half from now, give or take some change. But yeah, let's get started with, if you're coming from D20 fantasy. We know that many folks are coming to this game having only experienced D20 fantasy RPGs. This section details a few key distinctions between this game and a typical D20 fantasy that you'll notice right away. These are not only distinctions, but they're the most obvious. Character options are different. We strongly recommend you start exploring Drawsteel by looking through the character creation section before you decide what you want to play. You can't just assume the conduit is basically a cleric. In some ways it is. In other ways it's quite different. You might have some cool character archetype you love to play in D20 fantasy, and you're dying to see how that would work in Drawsteel, but you'll have a lot more fun if you start browsing the Ancestries and Classes section and getting inspired. Once you know a bit more about the game, how the game works, you'll have a better handle on how to build your character, your favorite character in the Drawsteel way. Smaller bonuses and penalties. Drawsteel is built around the roll of 2 10-sided dice to produce 3 possible outcomes: Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3. On the surface, this might not seem different from rolling a 20-sided die, and having two outcomes, success or failure. But we've run the math a lot. A bonus of +1 or a penalty of -2 is significant in draw steal. Much more so than a typical D20 game. That means you should feel pretty good attempting most power rolls, the rolls that you make to determine success in both in and out of combat, if you have a decent characteristic bonus to add to those rolls. And if you have a specific skill that applies a power roll made as a test outside of combat, you'll do even better. Hello, Orond! Welcome, welcome, hun! Abilities automatically deal damage. When you use an ability, one of the unique combat features that defines your character, you can still have a bad turn. A tier 1 outcome with minimal damage and effects that is the worst outcome you can obtain from an ability. It's not awesome, but you're always making progress. The question is, who's making progress faster, you or the monsters? Since there's no I miss, who's next in this game, fights typically last 3 or fewer rounds. A fight that lasts 5 rounds is a long fight, because everyone's doing damage. Okay, so they automatically clear up a big problem I have with most TTRPGs. There is nothing I hate more than I'm setting up something cool, right? And then waste my turn because I rolled a 10 and missed them completely. Gesundheit, my heart. I hate that. Especially when you're in lower levels where you don't have that much in, like, resources. You don't have that many resources to burn. So when you miss something ridiculously, it feels bad. But since this is, you're still doing damage and you're still doing something, you're not, I miss and fail. Alright, I'm getting to stack dice for the rest of the round. Especially when it's done in, 3 or fewer rounds. You feel better. Because you feel like you've had an impact. That's nice. You don't need to rest all the time. Most D20 fantasy games are games of attrition. Your spell slots and other features dwindle as the adventuring day goes on. In Draw Steel, you need to rest to regain your stamina and recoveries, the stats that determine how robust you are in combat. But all characters have the capability to use their magic and other awesome abilities as they adventure, encouraging you to press on heroically. Our game has a lot of skills. Your character can make use of a long list of skills. We don't expect you to memorize that list. We get into why the tests chapter features so many skills. But the short version is that we think having a lot of skills allows you to create more distinct and specialized heroes, which supports the sort of gameplay we want to see in Draw Steel. And the skills in-game aren't tied to characteristics. If you're trying to lose someone in a crowd, you can use Presence, the characteristic that represents your character's force of personality, to try to hide. Why not? We won't be able to point out every difference. Beyond what's noted here, don't assume that these rules work in like any D20 fantasy game you've played. We don't have the space to point out every exception. So if you're in doubt about how something works, put D20 fantasy out of your mind and read our rules without those assumptions. And we'll find that things... Ugh. I can speech, I promise. I can read, too. If... Where was I? So, if you're in doubt with how something works, put D20 out of your mind and read our rules without those assumptions, and you'll find that things make better sense. If you're still confused, stop by the Discord and ask. We have tons of awesome community members ready to help. We don't expect you to do everything to the letter. This is actually one thing Drawsteel does have in common with D20 Fantasy. This is a big book of rules. Don't stress if you need to look up something or make a ruling about an edge case on the fly. If everyone's having fun, you're doing it right. More TTRPGs need to put that in their rules. There are so many people, so many DMs that stress over being rules exact. It's okay to use rule of cool. If it gets a little out of hand, put a stop to it as a DM. But oh my gosh, some DMs need to know that it's okay to bend the rules a little bit. Even as a DM myself, I have been yapped at about freaking ruling something different than what they would have or what's in the book because I hadn't read the obscure book off in the freaking nothingness land that has that specific rule for the specific thing the hero did. Ah! It drives me bonkers. Yeah, it's so frustrating. Okay, we got a glossary. We will come back to the glossary. Because it has, like, different maneuvers and stuff like that. We do have a map, so I'm gonna let you guys see the map on YouTube end. There we go. Scoot this over. There we go. That is the map that they have for the setting. I assume this is for the setting. It's a really good looking map. A very interesting place to put it. That's not a bad looking map. Next up. Okay, we're gonna get through the glossary real fast. Oh! What was the joke, Jay? And we'll move on to the basics. What do you call an elf with no legs? That is a corny joke. Uh-huh. Yeah, I know where it comes from. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Epic. Alrighty. Now we get to do some fun stuff. Get into the nitty-gritty of the rules. So, we have our stats, which are called characteristics, using might, agility, reason, intuition, and presence. Might, is represented by M in abilities and other features, represents strength and brawn. A character's capability to break down doors, swing an axe, and stand up during an earthquake or hurl an enemy across a chasm is determined by might. Agility, represented by an A, represents coordination and nimbleness. A character's capacity to backflip out of danger, shoot a crossbow, dodge an explosion, or pluck keys from a guard's belt is determined by agility. Reason, represented by an R, a logical mind and education. A creature's capacity to solve a puzzle that unlocks a door, recall lore about necromancy, decipher a coded message, or blast a foe with psionic power is determined by reason. Intuition. Intuition is represented by an I, and it represents instincts and experience. A creature's capability to recognize a faint sound as the approach of a distant rider, quickly read the tell of a bluffing gambler, calm a rearing horse, or track a monster across the tundra is determined by intuition. And then presence. Presence is represented by a P, and it represents the force of personality. A creature's capacity to lie to a judge, convince a crowd to join a revolution, impress a queen at a royal banquet, or cast a magic spell by singing a song that is determined by presence. Each characteristic score has a score that runs from -5 to +5. The higher a score is, the more important a creature has with that characteristic. A baby bunny rabbit might have a might score of -5, while an ancient dragon might have a might score of 5. An average human has a score of 0 in all their characteristics. Characteristic scores are added to power rolls, the dice rolls that you make whenever your character attempts a task with an uncertain outcome. The type of die you use is 2d10s. Each player, including the director, should have 2 of them. Some 10-sided die are numbered 0 to 9, while others are numbered 1 to 10. In this case, use the former, 0, or in the case of the former, 0 counts as 10. The game also makes occasional use of 6-sided dice, called d6s, so it's helpful if each player has 1 or 2 of those as well. Probably more, considering the system is a TTRPG. I've rolled, at least if it's anything like 3-5, I have rolled a bucket of dice before. D3s. On rare occasions, the rules ask for a player to roll 1 or more 3-sided die. If you do not have a D3, you can roll a 6-sided die instead, treating 1 through 2 as 1, 3 through 4 as 2, and a roll of 5 through 6 as 3. D100s. Some tables in the game call for a D100 roll. To roll a D100, grab 2 10-sided die, decide which die represents the tens digit and which represents the ones digit. For instance, if you roll a 5 for the tens digit and a 3 for the ones digit, the number rolled is a 53. Some 10-sided die are, and it goes through the 10-sided die thing again. Power rolls. When a hero or other creature in the game attempts a task with an uncertain outcome, such as attacking a foe, sneaking by a guard patrol without being seen, or persuading a queen to provide military aid, the creature makes a power roll to determine the outcome of their actions. Types of power rolls. This game uses 2 types of power rolls. An ability roll is used when you use certain abilities to determine their impact. For instance, if a fury uses their brutal slam ability to strike an enemy, their ability roll determines how much damage the enemy takes and how far back the enemy is pushed. See abilities for more information. A test is a power roll you make outside using your abilities to affect or interact with the world around you. A tactician might not have an ability that lets them climb on the face of a cliff, so climbing is an activity that they can attempt with a test. An elementalist doesn't have an ability that makes them automatically intimidate a cultist into backing down from a fight, but they can make a test if they want to try. And of course, see tests for more info. Making a power roll. When you make a power roll, you roll 2 10-sided die, usually noted as 2d10 in the rules, and add one of your characteristics. The characteristic you add depends on the type of roll you're making, as outlined in abilities and tests. Power roll outcomes. The total of a power roll determines your outcome tier. 3 levels that determine how successful your power roll is. Tier 1, if your power roll is 11 or lower, that is a tier 1 outcome. This is the worst outcome a power roll can have. If you're using an ability, a tier 1 outcome means you still do something, but the impact of what you're doing is minimal. With this outcome, a strike ability might deal a little bit of damage, but not much else. For a test, a tier 1 outcome might mean you fail at what you're set out to do, and you might incur negative consequences. Tier 2. If your power roll is a total of 12 to 16, that is a tier 2 outcome. This is an average outcome with many power rolls, especially for heroes who are first level. When using an ability, a tier 2 outcome means that what you do has a moderate impact, not as, blah. With this outcome, a strike ability deals a decent amount of damage and has the effect that briefly helps allies or hinders enemies. For a test, a tier 2 outcome means that you might succeed if you set out to do, though, depending on the difficulty, success might have a cost. If your power roll total is 17 or higher, that is a tier 3 outcome. This is the best outcome a power roll can have. When using an ability, a tier 3 outcome means you deliver the maximum impact possible. With this outcome, a strike ability deals a lot of damage and has a powerful or lasting effect on enemies or allies. For a test, a tier 3 means that you succeed at what you set out to do. If the test has an easy difficulty, you also get a little something extra in addition to your success. The specific outcome of a power roll is determined by the effect or ability that requires the roll, or rules for tests. Alright, any questions so far? Or need better explaining? Because I think I understand a little bit. So, this seems very monster of the week kind of feeling of how they do their power rolls. So, if you roll a tier 1, you still do something. Just sometimes it's you do something and it's going to make things, you pretty much make a fumble. It's very similar to how Monster of the Week does it. Thinking on it. But it's also how some people do D&D fights, if I recall correctly. Except for the added bonus that you still do something. Even if it's not the best. which I really like. Alright. So, downgrade a power roll is the next section. Whenever you make a power roll, you can downgrade it to select the outcome of a lower tier. For instance, if an ability has a tier 3 outcome that lets you impose the restrained condition on a creature, but the tier 2 outcome for that ability lets you impose the slowed condition. Wait. Okay. So, if an ability has a tier 3 outcome that lets you impose the restrained on a creature, okay. But the tier 2 lets you do slowed. You can use the tier 2 if you would rather have the creature slowed than restrained. That makes some sense. Okay. If you downgrade a critical hit, you still get the extra action benefit of the critical hit. Ooh, that's interesting. If you downgrade a critical hit, you still get the extra action benefit of the critical hit. That's cool. So you could, if you get a crit, say I get a tier 3, and I like the tier 2 version better. I still keep my crit, I just do something else. I really like that. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's really interesting. That's a good way to put it. Oh, my hand is not happy with me right now. Why? Why is my right hand in pain? Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna take some Tylenol. Because I should not be having my hand on fire. Okay. There we go. Tylenol taken. Hopefully it kicks in soon. Ugh, that is awful. I can normally handle it. Soon, TM. Yes, soon. My right hand does, so my right side has a tendency to burn. It's not fun. It flares up every so often. I have been doing a lot of, sleeping on my right side. And sleeping with my hand under the pillow, so it could be something with that. I'm stretching it right now. It's just flare-ups from my muscle degradation and everything. It's alright. Oh, I hate waking up with Charlie horses. Oh, that's awful. My condolences, brother. There we go. Alright. Yeah, true. This is pretty mild compared to what it can get. It just makes it hard to grip onto anything when it's like this, because I can only, like... I've always said that it's kind of like if you've ever played a crane game and, like, they have the claw real loose. It's like that. I can't clench a fist. I can barely close my hand to mean anything. Like, if someone comes by and, like, tries to open my hand with it in a fist, they don't have to do anything with it. It's awful. The hydraulics are out. There we go. My dexterity in my right side is not the best. They had to nerf me. Oil pressure low. Exactly. Oil pressure low. I had to get a nerf. I would be too powerful if if my right side wasn't gimp. Natural roll. The total of your power roll before your characteristic or any other modifiers are added to what's called a natural roll. The rules often refer to this as rolling a natural X, where X is the total of the roll. For example, you can get a 20 on a power roll before adding your characteristic. This is called rolling a natural 20. When you roll a natural 19 or 20, certain types of power roll on certain types of power rolls, this is a critical hit. Hi, Randy! Hi, friend! Welcome, welcome. We're going over draw steel. Edges and banes. An archer standing on a castle wall fires down into a throng of enemies, hitting the mark each time thanks to their high ground. A drunken bandit struggles to land blows on sober opponents as alcohol clouds their senses. Under certain circumstances, you need more than just a characteristic to represent the advantages and disadvantages that heroes, their enemies, and their allies might have. Hello! How are you today, hun? That's good, that's good. Yeah, we're going over the basics of draw steel. We might get into races today, at the rate we're going. Got about an hour left of stream. We're doing pretty good. Bane. A bane represents a situational disadvantage a hero or an enemy has making a power roll. For example, if you take a strike while prone, the power roll for this strike takes a bane. A rainstorm might give you a bane on a power roll made to climb an outdoor wall because the weather makes the stone surface extra slick. When you make a power roll with a bane, you take a -2 penalty to the roll. If you make a power roll with 2 or more banes, you have a double bane. With a double bane, you don't subtract anything from the power roll, but the outcome roll is automatically decreases to one tier lower. I can speech, I promise. To a minimum of tier 1. That is interesting. Okay, so from what I'm understanding, when you have a bane, one singular bane, you get a -2. If you have 2 or more, you roll with a step lower. So if you get a, say, tier 3 roll, that'll automatically go down to tier 2. Although you can't roll lower than a tier 1, so even if you roll a tier 1 and fail the roll, you're still getting a tier 1. That's not too bad. That feels better. It does certainly feel like a more epic feeling, like hero fantasy as they've set out to do. 'Cause, like, even if the hero's not doing a lot of damage, they're still doing something. Whereas most games, like, I'm gonna use Cyberpunk as an example. Cyberpunk, if you roll really bad, you get fumbled. You get the fumble table. And you can actually, there's a funny story about people literally just party wiping because of themselves and fumbling with the grenades. So this is interesting. This is a really cool way to do it and feels a little bit better, honestly, as a player. And probably feels great as a DM, so if you try to hit the enemy, your heroes, you're still gonna be chipping away at them even if you're not doing the best. So you don't get the feeling, Lord, do I understand this so well as a DM, of, oh great, I can't meet your AC, I don't do anything this round. You know? Kind of feeling. You don't feel like you're not... You're just throwing bodies at the heroes, you know? Which I kind of like. I really like that. I like the dynamic progression with stuff. That's nice. Rolling with edges and banes. Wait, did it skip over edge? I skipped over edge. My brain just deleted edge from the PDF. Whoopsies. Edge represents the situational advantage a hero or an enemy has on making a power roll. For example, a standing hero who makes a melee strike against a prone creature gains an edge on the power roll for their strike. A pair of magic gloves that makes your hands sticky might grant you an edge when making a power roll to climb walls. Okay, so this works just like Bane, except it's positive. So you get a +2 bonus on the roll if you have one edge. And then if you have 2 or more edges, you roll, but it automatically improves by a tier to a maximum of 3. So you can't, if you have 2 edges going on, you can't roll a tier 1. You roll a tier 2 or better. Which I really like. That's really cool. I really like that. That's a nice way to put it. You can't fail. You'll probably succeed plus. You know? You'll succeed, but you need to do something, or you'll succeed completely and get something out of it. That's really cool. I really like that. Alrighty, I'm just gonna skip this because this is pretty much the same. They have an explanation of why they cap it. Because, like, if you read Edge and Bane, it's pretty much the same. It's like when you use them. When you want to use them. Thank you for the head bank, Jay. Alrighty. Hero tokens. Hi, Richard! Welcome, hun! I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in trading. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam, and a few days a week over on YouTube. Welcome. We're doing, looking through some TTRPGs, and, well, not some, we're going through, Draw Steel. I guess this would be a good way to say that I think this is probably going to be a skill-based. Skill-based mixed with a D10 system is the best way I can probably explain this. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like if you took Cyberpunk and mixed it with Monster of the Week. except not. We'll be the judge of it once we get to the classes and everything. Hero tokens. In all great heroic stories, luck favors the protagonists, giving them that little bit of extra fortune that they need to win the day. In these stories, fate is often on the side of the righteous. To represent that tiny bit of karma, players have access to hero tokens, a special resource that they can rely on when all else fails. Hero tokens are a group resource that is tracked by the players and kept in a pool accessible to all of their characters. Hero tokens are tracked using poker chips, stones, or other markers, or can be tallied numerically on a piece of paper or written off on the side of a virtual tabletop. Earning hero tokens. At the start of a new game session, the heroes have a number of hero tokens equal to the number of heroes in the party. The heroes can earn more tokens through play by taking big risks to save others. A hero who leaps off a cliff to reach to the bottom and aid a friend, who crosses a burning bridge to save a stray cat, or who wagers their most prized treasure as part of a negotiation to get shelter for a group of refugees, might earn a hero token for the group. The director has the final say regarding the heroic acts that earn hero tokens. Players who can also be rewarded hero tokens as part of a test's outcome when they succeed a test with a reward. Okay, so that you can get a hero token through maybe the tier 3 roles. That would be interesting. Depending on, like, what kind of thing you're doing. This does make me want to try to run a one-shot of this. Spending hero tokens. Whenever hero tokens are available, you can spend them in the following ways. You can spend a hero token to gain 2 surges, allowing you to increase the damage or potency of an ability. You can spend a hero token when you fail a saving throw, letting you succeed the save instead. You can spend a hero token to reroll a test. You must use the new roll. So it's like the luck feat. You can spend 2 hero tokens on your turn, or when you take damage, no action required, to regain stamina equal to your recovery value before taking the damage. Oh! You can use only one hero token benefit per turn or per test, unless the director decides otherwise. Unused hero tokens disappear at the end of a session. Ooh, so it resets every session. So you can't hoard them all. So it kind of pushes you to use your tokens when you can. Yeah. You use your tokens when you can because you get it refreshed and you can earn more tokens later. I like that. That's really nice. It does sound very fair. Because, like, if you have the resources, why not spend them? Whereas in D&D, when you get something like inspiration die or tokens or anything like that, you kind of want to hoard them because you never know when you're going to have to use them. So it feels better to have them refresh. That's nice. I really like that. And it kind of does play really well into my philosophy, at least with it as a DM, is always be your party's fan. Be a fan of the party. Because you're there as a DM to write a story. I mean, sure, you can make it like, big bad evil guy type vibes. But in the end of the day, you are trying to tell a story, and these are your protagonists. It also stops you getting into the mind space of DM versus player. So. Which can be very rampant in, at least 3.5 sometimes. It can get pretty bad. I love you.
I don't feel like I'm very player versus DM.
You're not. You're not.
What'd you look at me for and say I love you afterwards?
I mean, beginning of the West March. You sent a bone drinker after a level 1 party. And then some. I'm pretty sure there were other enemies. That was just the notable one. I'm not gonna look up the CR of that thing.
We can talk later.
Yeah, I can do it later.
Not everything you need to fight.
Yeah, Roja definitely learned that the hard way. Just so you guys know, 3.5, if you lose all of your con, you die. And this thing ate con. It drank your bones. Always round down. Sometimes the rules tell you to divide a number in half. Whenever you divide an odd number in half and it results in a decimal, round the result down to the nearest whole number. For instance, if a tactician takes 7 damage and uses the parry ability. Ooh, there's parrying. Bone broth? That's so cursed. That's so cursed. Bone broth. It doesn't help that she's also kind of snaky. So you got the snake oil bones. A triggered action that halves the damage, then the damage would be reduced to 3. Okay, that's kind of cool. I really like that. I like the fact that there's a parry ability. Thank you, Gabe, for alluding to that. I have a feeling when we look through the classes, I'm going to really like the tactician. Because I love doing tactics in D&D. I'm actually working on a 3.5 Pathfinder-ish fighter rebuild. Like homebrew. Gesundheit. That I've been calling the fighter tactician. So it rewards you for being tactical in battle. It's still going. I'm still trying to figure out certain things, but yeah, I like my tactics. I like using stuff in battle. Please, God, fighter, be good in this. Or fighter adjacent. Please be good. Unattended objects. Okay, that's kind of normal. Supernatural, mundane. PCs and NPCs. Bags of rats ain't heroic. I love that.
Have you never heard of the bag of rats problem?
No, but it's funny. That's one of the notes in here.
I would, yeah, but you're on stream.
Yes. Building heroic narrative. So, okay. This is through a lot of the, like, story vibes. Okay, here we go. Victories. Because I know victories is a mechanic. We're here for the mechanics. Victories. Victories measure your hero's increasing power over the course of an adventure. As they overcome battles and other challenges, at the start of an adventure, you have 0 victories. Victories for combat. Each time your hero survives a combat encounter in which the party's objectives are achieved, you receive 1 victory. The director can decide that a trivial... I cannot pronounce this word. Trivalry? Easy encounter doesn't earn the heroes a victory, and can award additional victories for particularly challenging encounters. What's up? It's right there. Look where the double is. Over. Red caps.
Huh?
Oh, I have no idea where you pop from.
Yeah.
You might have popcorn up here. Sorry about that. Partner was looking for something. Where was I? Oh, can award additional victories for particularly challenging encounters. Victories for non-combat challenges. When your hero successfully overcomes a big challenge that doesn't involve combat, the director can award you with one victory. Such challenges can include things as a particularly complicated and deadly trap, a negotiation, a montage test, a complicated puzzle, or the execution of a clever idea that avoids a battle. Especially difficult challenges might award you with more than one victory. Yes! Yes! Thank you! God! I freaking hate... Okay, one pet peeve I have with some DMs is the fact that some of them don't hand out EXP for getting past a thing that they were expecting for combat. They don't award clever, like, play. Where, oh, we don't want to do the fight here. We don't want to fight. So we're going to get around this. Or we don't see that a fight's coming up and we, diplomacy our way through, or, stop the fight before it even happens. Some DMs don't award any kind of EXP for it, or they award very little EXP for it. You know how big this is? That's awesome! You still get awarded. You get awarded pretty much the same amount, whether you win in a victory or you don't. Or you do it the amicably way. Yeah! It rewards being tactical. I like that! Because, like, a hero isn't just somebody that's going to be, like, beating the crap out of everyone every time. Yeah, no penalties to being smart. Hello, Miku. Welcome, hun. I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in training. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam, and a few days a week over on YouTube. Welcome. Thank you. Yeah, my model mama did wonderful. That's awesome, though. Holy heck! I've been waiting for, like, some kind of thing like this. I normally award a little bit more EXP. I reward my players for getting through an encounter without having to fight. Whether it be with an item or something else. Hi, Audio! Welcome, hun! We're going over, Draw Steel. Victories reset. Whenever you finish a respite, your victories are converted into experience. Ooh! So it's an experience pool. So it's pushing you to do other stuff. Yeah, so, okay, so your victories count as, like, a point pool. And then when you rest, it gives you EXP. That's interesting. That is cool. I like that. And it pushes you to do more and more heroic things. I like that. That would be kind of fun for a group of like mercenaries or something that maybe don't have the best intentions. And then they become heroes that way. I kind of like that concept. I might do something based off that. Oh no, depending on how this looks, I might use this for the D&D game I have an idea for content. Heroic resources. Your hero has a heroic resource determined by your class and which you manage during play. Earning your heroic resources can increase your hero's power and spend your heroic resources to activate your most powerful abilities. Your hero's class description has more information on how to use your heroic resource. Interesting. And that's good. That's good that you're doing alright, audio. Recoveries. Recoveries represent the number of times your hero can take a breather and keep fighting. Ooh, kind of like the, what is that ability in 4E? It's kind of like Second Wind with the fighter in 5th edition. But everybody can do it. I forget what it's called. There's an ability in 4th edition where essentially you take a moment and you reset stuff. You get your stamina and all that stuff back. Because 4E used stamina. 4E has a few things that a lot of people didn't like, and some people did. I like 4E. Some people don't. But it kind of acts as like a heal too. And I like that. Spending recoveries. During combat encounters in regularly dangerous situations, when time is tracked in rounds, you can use the catch breath maneuver to regain stamina. Some heroes have abilities that allow them or their allies to spend more recoveries without using the catch breath maneuver. Outside of combat and other dangerous situations, you can spend recoveries freely. Regaining recoveries. You regain all lost recoveries when you finish a respite. So essentially respite is your rest. Yeah, that's your rest. So you get your respites back and you convert your victories from the day into EXP when you rest. That's really cool. I really like that. That is a really interesting bit. And it also implies that there is stuff with your enemies are always planning and scheming, so you can take as many respites as you want, but you are on crunch time. I do know, the one thing that I do know about some of the classes is that, you do have, different, like, what's a good word for it? My brain's blanking. You do have, like, abilities that work off of the more victories you have. So you actually get stronger the more beaten down you are. And I really like that. It kind of pushes your, the might that you have, and the hero keep on pushing on and continuing on without rest. It's very anime in a way, too. This would be funny to do a Dragon Ball themed game. Not gonna lie. Probably could, honestly. Oh, is this the planner system? Oh, what is this? Hang on, I'm switching over to... Oh, this is... Okay, so we're going to skip world building, but I want to show you guys this map on YouTube End. Like, holy heck. This is their, like, planar system, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Orden in this timescape. This is wild. The abyssal wastes. The 7 cities of hell. The world below. The dark under all. The dusk equinox, Arcadia. The plane of uttermost chaos. The plane of uttermost law. This is really cool looking. Whoever designed their planar map here should get a freaking raise. This is awesome looking. The Sea of Stars. The Maelstrom. Okay, so whenever I see the Maelstrom, I instantly think of, Galarian. Where, that's where Nephis is the Maelstrom. And it's like a... If I remember right, it can be a storm on the Prime, but it's his plane of existence that he chills in. The Mad God. But that's cool. That's really cool. I really like that. There we go. So we're gonna skip over world building right now, for now. We'll probably get some world building in when we get to the races. Because they have their own, setting. Alright, we got the steps to making a hero. Hello, hun! Welcome, hun. We're going over Draw Steel. Okay, so we got the character building. So we're gonna go over the steps of it. We're not gonna go into the nitty-gritty details. We'll just go over the steps, glance over it, and then probably maybe try to make a sheet. We will see. We will see how that goes. Hello, Arcos! Welcome, on. So think, step 1 is think. Think is pretty much what do you want to do, what kind of character concept do you have, that sort of thing. Ancestry. You pick out what ancestry they are. There's a lot of them. And it actually lists the ancestries. We'll go over those when we get there. Culture. There's different cultures, because this does have a setting. But it can probably be moved around to different settings also. Career, what you did for a living before you became a hero. Kind of think of your background in 5th edition. Or the background variant rule in Pathfinder 1st edition. Your class, what you are. Your kit, which I'm excited for. I'm excited to see the kits because it seems, going off of this, it seems a lot like 2nd edition D&D. And if you don't know about kits in AD&D were essentially you take the class and you change it a little bit. So think of, say, archetypes in Pathfinder 1st edition, where you'll have a slayer, but you'll have, like, certain things traded out for some other things. So on and so forth. Hi, Saber! Welcome, welcome, hun. We're going to go for, draw steel today. At least starting to. Add 3 strikes. Free strikes. A free strike is a combat ability that you can use when it's not your turn, representing the simplest and most basic weapon attack you can make. Oh, okay. They're all the same until modified by your kit or class. A punch. And it's up to you to decide what exactly your free strikes are. A thrown dagger, a punch. The design is intended to let you use your imagination. You can make free strikes on your turn to represent using weapons your hero isn't otherwise themed to use. A woad elf master archer can stab a too close enemy with a dagger as a free strike, and a great axe-wielding orc, Fury, can use a free strike to hurl a hand axe or at a flying enemy, staying annoyingly out of melee range. Oh, cool! That's actually really interesting. Okay, so, in this concept, you have a free strike, right? You can use that as an advantage. Like what they said here, you can throw a throwing axe at a flying enemy as a fury, because you don't normally use a throwing axe. That is interesting! I like that! That's cool! Oh! Heck yeah! I mean, they weren't lying about it being cinematic. Okay, so it shows, so we are getting into tables. Hang on. YouTube end. Let me switch over to gaming stream. Dudes, once I get a thing, to be able to switch my scenes seamlessly, I will be unstoppable. Let's see here. Whoops. Don't need to move that. Get back. There we go. That's fixed. Alright, so, window capture, thank you. So we're going to zoom this in just a tad so you guys can see better. So that's our table that we're looking at. Hi, Trickster! Hello, friend! So these are how they do the free strikes for, melee and ranged weapons. And it also looks like they also have it so you can either choose, melee or agility, which I really like. I really like that. You can use your agility if you really want to, if you don't have that good of strength. I love that. Oh. Holy heck. I love it. That's so good. We aren't gonna go over all of this. Because this is a lot of, general stuff. Like gear and everything else. It looks like we also have some, EXP progression differences. Which is really nice. I really like that concept. So we have adjusted advancement and milestone. Oh, heroic advancement, which is, using our victories to convert into EXP. And then we have our other advancements, which is adjusted EXP and milestone. I like that. That's really cool. Ooh, and they have it to where they have different EXP tables. So you can have it for EXP for double speed and EXP for half speed too. So if you want to make it a little bit of a slower burn, you can. I like that. That's one of the things why I like, one of the very few things I like about, second edition Pathfinder. Is that they have slow and fast progression. Slow, medium, and fast progression for, their monster EXPs. I really like that. That's really cool. Heck yeah. Alrighty. I have to show off this artwork. I'm trying my best to show off the artwork because holy heck, some of this is great. Oops. Do not want to move my avatar. Boop. Not that. There we go. So we are getting into races. For those listening at home over on Iriam, we got human, devil, polder, time raider, orc, woad elf, high elf, dragon knight, mnemonic, dwarf, Hakan, and the revenant. And now we are in ancestries. We might wrap it up for today, at least, for looking at the PDF itself, and just, chat about the PDF. Don't want to get into ancestries and then have, time crunch. We have 30 minutes left, but, I think, taking a break and just talking about what we've looked through so far is probably the better option. So, some overview. This is a very different kind of vibe than I was expecting. So I knew that it was going to be a D10 system, in a way, but I was not expecting the way they went about it. So far the combat seems very interesting. We'll of course probably get more in-depth with it, when we get to classes. But so far I'm very interested. I'm very interested in how this'll all go. I definitely hope they continue working on the project, though. I do know, some TTRPGs don't add too much. Like, I hope we get more, Glitter Hearts content. because I want more magical girl stuff, but I do know that sometimes that can be a little hard for TTRPGs. I mean, Monster of the Week is one that I absolutely adore, but it doesn't have that much content. Sadly. But yeah, I really like Straw Steel so far. I like how the combat seems to work. So it definitely seems like they are going to be using it's a very rewarding system. So it definitely works in line with my philosophy of how I normally DM, which is always be a fan of your players. But I do know that some people might not necessarily like that kind of vibe. But I am interested in how monsters are. I want to see how strong those are. I'm a DM. I'm a DM at heart. I like to see monstrous stuff to see like what my party will be dealing with and plan accordingly. But I am glad that even in the end, so a little bit of an overview of the basics. You can't necessarily fail a roll. So you can get a bad roll, but you can't get a like a complete miss. You know? You're always going to do something, whether that be bad or good. Which I think is fine. I definitely think that's fine. Mostly because combat in like D&D, I'll use the example that I have from and not even D&D. We were doing a Starfinder one shot of 2nd edition Starfinder. And that made me a little angry, TM. Because the only thing I did during combat was miss my spells. I was playing an oracle, essentially like a great old one oracle, or not great old one. I was under like a goddess of, wanderers. She was like a space travel goddess. And we ran into the situation of I did jack all throughout the entire combat scenario. If anything, I think I got hurt more than I actually helped during that session. Keep in mind, we were a couple levels in, too. So it felt great. It felt awesome. And especially since I was spending resources to do it, too. And on one hand, like, yeah, sure, it's gambling. In the end of the day, playing a TTRPG is gambling. But it doesn't feel good when you're playing a character that should be able to do things. And it wasn't like, I normally optimize. I optimize the heck out of my player characters. Mostly because of, this kind of a scenario. Addiction. I do optimize. So I make good rolls. But and I wasn't rolling poorly. It was just the enemies we were fighting were really strong. And like I felt like I was wasting everything for the session. Because every time I went to use an ability, it failed. Yeah, it was rough. And the fun caveat with Oracle is you get backlashed really bad sometimes. I'm pretty sure I was a dual cursed Oracle. Let me check. I can't remember if this one was on, in my docs, or if this one was in my Pathfinder 2nd edition. What was the name of that character? Oh, wait. Anne. Starfinder character sheet. Yeah, no, that's the actual character sheet. That's for 1st edition. That's for the West Barge I'm in. Let me pop over to Discord, because I know Partner has it in his, thing. I sent it to him. This is months ago, though, so... I think this happened well before I even started Iriam, so... This is like a year and a half ago. Not draw steel, let's see, let me type in Oracle. Okay, Oracle... Mystery lore... Ah, here it is. Yeah, Sister Yesserin. Infinity Oracle. Yeah, so, this... What are you using? What are we using here? Blissful Spell... Dark Vision... Okay, this is regular Pathfinder. Okay, this is regular Pathfinder. Right! We were using a space third-party thing. So I was what they called a transgenic, which was, they're humans with Great Old One blood. So I was an Infinity Oracle. That was a Yog-Sothoth brood. Yeah, she was kind of like a half-breed. So kind of like a Great Old One tiefling. There we go. And she was a little bit more space squid alien than devil. There we go. I actually have a picture of her. Do I have it in here? It might be in the one-shot area. Actually, hang on. I actually have it on my VGen. Let me grab it. Dashboard. Portfolio. Because it's in my character design folder. At least she should be. Yeah, she's right here. Can I view it? Go to my profile. Profile. Or portfolio. Character design. Save as. This is an old... Well, older But her concept was kind of based off of the sisters in Warhammer. No, not the whole thing. I just want the picture. What? Can I open the picture in a different... Hi, Tabs! It does take a minute to patch for LTR. There we go. I'll put this in the media and sharing in the Discord. As usual. But yeah, so her whole thing was that she was like powered by space. That was the concept anyways. But anyways, it was rough. So in the whole game, a bunch of people had opportunities to do things. I had very few in the game, or in the session, except for talking the whole time. But yeah, it was rough. But when I actually went to do things, I normally failed at them. And you'll probably go, what the heck? Because my highest ability score. Oh, scuff? Am I scuffing? I hope not. No, I'm skeets. Okay, you had me worried. I've had scuff before. You know how many times I hit scuff? It is not a Momo stream without a little bit of scuff. Oh yeah, the game was scuffed as heck. I think it might have been partially because we were using third-party material, and Pathfinder already kind of spirals out of control sometimes. Or no, I think this is second party, actually. Material, not third party. So second party, if you don't know TTRPG terms, so second party materials is normally, so it's a third party coming in with their own stuff. And then it's accepted by the person and everything, accepted by the community, accepted by the publisher and everything, and it is not related to the game. I can't think of much examples for 5e, but 3.5 has a couple, like the World of Athos, Dark Sun. Dark Sun is a second party book, because they have the rights to TTRPGs, to publish stuff in 3.0 and 3.5. It's just that Wizards of the Coast don't outwardly support it. You know, they have the stamp of approval, they don't have it for other stuff. Hi Kikastar, welcome, hun. I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in training. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam, and a few days a week over on YouTube. Welcome. We're just gapping now. We're winding down stream just a little bit. Because we got about 13-ish minutes before I switch over to YouTube only mode. I switch off and get ready for collab later today, which Tabs is over in my YouTube chat. But yeah, it's really interesting. The TTRPG world, there's a lot of different TTRPGs. Like, I want to go over Gamma World at some point. Because Gamma World's really cool. If you like Fallout, you'll like Gamma World. Another one. PHP? Yeah, if you like Fallout, you'll like Gamma World. Gamma World is very much But yeah, I like Gamma World. It's really fun. I made a sentient Deathclaw in Gamma World. um There's that. I want to go over GURPS 4th edition eventually. Um there's a few TTRPGs. Yeah, GURPS. So it's a R GURPS, which is the GURPS, which is the General Universal Role Playing System. That's what it stands for, but GURPS for short. Yeah, I really like GURPS. I really like GURPS. It's a really good TTRPG system. GURBS. I mean, there's actually surprisingly, as if you're not familiar with my, distaste in 5th edition, it's mostly because of wizards. I will state, it's mostly because of wizards, for those at home that do not understand. My hatred towards 5th edition is just Wizards of the Coast, for the most part. Gerber life. But GURPS, you can play just about anything in it. You can play classic fantasy, superheroes, and Traveler, like space opera type stuff, in the same game. If you really wanted to. I also want to eventually look into Warhammer. That's another game I want to look into, is Warhammer. But yeah. So, okay. I guess we can do closing statements. Tomorrow, we are doing Cozy Game Sunday. So we're probably going to play some Sky Children or Minecraft, one of the two. I do need to check Warframe, to see if the... Yeah, Sky Children! Yeah, we're gonna be playing some Sky Children, tomorrow, probably. More than likely. Yeah! pretty game. Maybe we can get some, folks to join us. Looks longingly at Lobby. We might actually also check in on the, Lord of the Rings game. It's free. It's completely free and on, like, everything. It's on, and it's on mobile. It actually started on mobile. Funny enough. Has some of the best flying mechanics I have ever experienced in a game. Yeah, it's on mobile, Switch, PC, PlayStation. I think it's on Xbox. And you could probably play it on a freaking Samsung smart fridge if you really wanted to. And it's all crossplay too. It's really cool because each platform does have its like specialty stuff that they sell in the shops. And one of them for the PlayStation is actually the Journey pack, because it's the same company that made Journey. It's really cool. Watch this fridge start overheating. I feel like that's the opposite of what you want your fridge to do. My ice box is gonna melt. Yes. But yeah, so I'm going to probably Monday and Tuesday are going to be co-working days. I've got a few things I need to work on. Some logo stuff. I'm gonna be working on some adoptables for VGen. General stuff. And then outside of that, I'm not sure what we're doing next week. Oh, next Friday, I am doing an interview with somebody. So, next Friday, we may or may not have stream a little bit late. It depends on what time I get done with it and the scuff that might ensue. But yeah. I hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe. Actually, let me see how long my stuff. Oh, okay, yeah, we've done it. Dang. We've been streaming for 2 hours. Heck yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe. I hope you guys enjoyed the start of Draw Steel. I don't know how long Draw Steel's gonna last. It'll probably be a good 2, maybe 3 more episodes, maybe, of Draw Steel. My goal is to go from area to area, so next one's going to be mostly like character building stuff, so it might be 2 episodes to do character building. Looking into. I also have to get the monster side of things, so. But yeah. I hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye! Bye-bye! 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock we are doing collab with tabs on YouTube only. So that'll be YouTube only. Yep. We're just setting up for it. Hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe. And if I don't see you guys later, have a good night. Boop. But yeah, have a good night, YouTube. Goodbye. I'll see you guys later. See you guys in about 30 minutes-ish.